edge and put it right behind your back and then lay down on it. You're welcome. So the other way, Tenzin. The narrow edge is near your tailbone. It like sticks out like a tail, and then you're going to lay back on it. It should be long enough to support your spine and your head. Your booty stays on the ground. So if you lifted your hips up off the ground, you want to slide down a little bit. Make sure that your pelvis is on the mat. And it's going to cause a little bit of a back bend, but it's supported. And there's a couple things that are going on here. If your lower back feels like it's pulling, you can bend your knees, which will soften the stretch on the psoas, right? So you can bend your knees and put your feet on the mat. That might take a little of the pulling away. I see some of you are fidgeting, so that means you're not fully comfortable. Can you lay your head back, Mitchell? Yeah, there you go. And then do your best to let your body weight really be supported by the bolster. I'm coming. Yeah. So let's all bend our knees for just a moment. Let's put the soles of the feet down. Okay. Yeah. Put your head back now. Better? Yeah. Okay. And so it might take a moment for your body to succumb to the shape. Some of us, just the mere mention of the bolster, we go, oh yeah, right? But for others, bending backwards, not something that we do very comfortably. Lori, I saw your shirt on Instagram and I almost bought it. Yeah. All right. Now, if the knees bent is what's making you feel comfortable, stay. If you feel like you want to explore what it feels like to open a little bit, we extend the legs straight down the mat, but open them a little bit wide. And then start to move the arms out a little bit away from the body. And as the arms move out and away from the body, you can turn the palms to face up and start to bring the breath up a little bit higher, up into the chest wall. So under the armpits, the side of the rib cage. And in this position, you might even find that you can get the breath up high into the collarbones and the shoulder blades. So we're going to kind of flush out the upper lung. And every time you move your arms up another inch, you make more room under the armpit for the chest wall to expand. The arms could be all the way out like a T. Some of us could even take the arms up overhead. So how about 1 inch at a time instead of just going, right? Yeah. I knew as soon as I said it that we were going to just go, but I want you to take one breath at a time. I want you to explore, what does it feel like in each position? And eventually we'll be in like the big capital letter X, like X marks the spot. And we breathe. And as you know, the breath is one of the most important factors in this practice. We also value holding the pose for time. And a deep relationship with relaxation and softening. And so if the body is resistant in any way, that's where your attention is going to go. If we can start to work on our resistance in the body, we might actually be able to work with the resistance we have in our ideas, in our thoughts, in our relationships. How do we soften? How do we melt away tension or blockages that keep us from being free? So much of that work is done internally, in our attitudes, in our thoughts, physically, and finding the tension and the resistance and working on relaxing and breathing there instead of holding, gripping, clenching. Some of those habitual patterns are thought related, some are movement related. Some are so deeply embedded in us that we don't even know how to be any other way. But today in this practice, I'm going to ask you to look at it. In this moment with your heart elevated and the heart space open, can you feel the breath moving around the heart 360 degrees? That breath can be above and below the heart space, to the left and the right, and in the front and the back. So for the next minute, let's just see if we can feel the movement of the space all around your heart center. And then just as slowly and carefully as you came in, and you start to bring your arms down by your sides. Just feel the process. Let's all take a clearing breath here, a nice deep breath in and an open mouth, a little sigh, a little sound. And then we'll bend our knees, softening again at the hips, and just lift your left arm up so you can kind of gently roll off the bolster to your right side. You can just use your hand to push the bolster away. Maybe move it under your head as a pillow. So just kind of move it toward that back edge of your mat and just let your head lay on it. Yeah. It's kind of nice. You get to snuggle up there for a moment. Yeah, I don't want to get rid of it so fast. And so we're in fetal position on the right side. Pull that left knee over, lay onto your right side for me, Martha. Completely curl up. Yeah, there you go. And then the same work that you were willing to do when we were on our backs and heart open, exposed, and we do it here. And we breathe 360 degrees around. And we notice a difference in sensations. Maybe the contrast between comfort and vulnerability. For some of us, we're more comfortable being all out there, stretched out and taking up space, and others more comfortable when we're curled up in a ball. fetal position is more vulnerable than laying it out on the bolster. But I know that that's not true for everyone. We each have our own energetic anatomy. We each have our own life experiences. We all have our own work to do. Now I'd like you to put some weight in your hands and look at the bolster. You guys all have the bolster there. So like get up on your hands, look at the bolster, and then pull the narrow end of the bolster to your right hip. Hi. Here, my love, you're gonna need this. So can you see how they're sitting with their knees to one side? And then you're going to lay your chest onto the bolster. For a moment, let's keep the head turned to, that would be your left, right? Yeah, so let's stay like that for a moment before we tweak out the neck. Yeah. So let your body get used to that little bit of rotation in the spine. And maybe one arm on either side of the bolster. That usually works quite nicely. And we relax as much as we can. It helps to really keep the knees bent and pull them up to the side like they were in fetal position, so the lower back doesn't have as many wonky angles. Yep. And then because your arms are on either side of the bolster, you can just push into the forearms, lift your head and chest, and turn your head the other way. If that makes it really hard for you to put your head down on the bolster, then fold your hands and make a pillow so your head can be a little bit elevated. Yeah, it might help. Is that better? Okay, so this needs to be right under you. So you're laying on it, not off to the side of it. So you're too much on an angle here. Yeah, there you go. And then maybe your hands, make a pillow with your hands on top. Is that better? Okay, good. Now just do a little body scan and check in. Is there resistance anywhere? Some of us melt right into the bolster. Some of us are fighting it. Go deep inside. Are your feet relaxed? Are you clenching or gripping behind your knees or in the crease of your hips? Do you feel that kind of movement in the belly that tells you that you're breathing freely and fully around the heart space? Things could be tight there in the middle of the spine, so see if you can get the breath to move specifically there. Always check in with the jaw and the face and the eyes.
Turn up the fountain and fill this world with bliss. I will sing a song of joyful love and merge into your kiss. And I will stumble into beauty, recognizing that it's me. I will open up my heart and surrender unto thee.
As you relax into the pose, see if you can start to follow the breath a little bit more deliberately. like literally be connected to the breath as it comes into your body and as it goes out. How long do you savor it? How well do you distribute it? Let's go ahead and take a long, slow, deep breath in here. See how much you can take in, and then hold it for a moment. Sip in just a little more, expanding lung capacity. Yep. And then one more time, just sip in just a little more, and then open your mouth and let that out completely. Start to push into your hands, and come on up to seated, facing forward. Yeah, slowly. Or you can whine and moan about it if you want to. Yeah. And we turn around and face forward, and then just like hop your booty up on the edge of the bolster. Sit up on the end. And then open your feet out wide and your knees out wide. And maybe you can hook your elbows onto your knees or your hands onto your knees, and I want you to just like sit up really tall. Relax your shoulders down your back. There's like a rooting of the tailbone and a lifting of the pelvic floor and the lower belly. So if you feel like you're a little bit like this, rounded, like just lift up, draw the shoulders back, widen the collarbones. Yeah. That bolster's soft enough that you can let the tailbone kind of sink in a little bit. Yeah. And we're just going to hold there. Seems so simple, but your hips are open, your spine is extended. And energetically, it's actually quite pleasing for your nervous system. And here there could be some resistance or there could be none, right? It depends. Each of us, different energy anatomy, a different physical anatomy. Nadia, make sure your knees are bent. Yep, feet are flat and knees are bent here. So we're sitting up on the bolster, but the knees are bent. Yeah. So I really want the hips to open. Go wider than your mat. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to feel a little bit of muscle fatigue from trying to sit up straight. Anybody got that? Yeah. So just do it a little more. That tells me that you're not sitting up straight often, that it takes this much time for those muscles to just fatigue. Right, so let's see if we can actually set a little bit of an impression on getting those muscles to stay upright and hold. And we push past a little bit through the resistance and we build stamina, right? These are the beautiful things that happen with the practice. When I first started meditating, the hardest part for me wasn't even getting my mind quiet, it was getting my body comfortable. And so I wasted so much time complaining inside about how uncomfortable I was that I couldn't actually get to the meditation. But I kept sitting and I kept sitting and I kept sitting until eventually the sitting actually was like, oh, I think my body's actually getting used to this. And then eventually the posture was easier, and then it held through the day a little bit more. And I noticed more that I'd fatigue if I was slouching. Right? So then it tells me that something shifted. So we practice sitting upright, breathing and relaxing. Try not to clench or grip the crease of the hips. Just elongate upward. We are all entitled to live in the privilege of confidence in our bodies, right? Lifting the heart, holding the heart space open wide, holding your head up high. All of that body language translates into how we present in the world. That's it. You actually look amazing right now. Let's take 3 more breaths. Just see if we can get that to set in. Feel it, know it, remember it. And on the last one, open your mouth and make a little sound. Then we'll just scoot our booties off the end of the bolster. Go ahead and drop over to your left side. Move the bolster so it becomes a pillow for you in fetal position. I think moving it not under the ribs, but just under the head. Just turn it sideways. Turn it sideways. Yep, and then lay your head on it as you take fetal position. Again, we went from big open chest to like curled up. A possibility for how we can be in the world and then returning to how we began. I love the idea that we could be so comfortable in both. Like everything else in the practice, the body adapts. So the first time you try to do something that's kind of pretzely or contortionist, it feels absurd. But after years of practicing, we do these positions and we feel calm and steady in them. It's so interesting how adaptable we are as humans. And so pull your attention inward. Notice where you have resistance. Notice where you're all in. Consistently checking attitudes and resistance. Finding patience to hold for a little bit longer time. Circling back to that invitation of relaxation. And being responsible for the quality of the breath. If we could always bring those things to the mat, it won't matter what poses we do. Catch a glimpse of the breath as it touches your nose, as it comes into your body. Imagine how it's distributed into every cell, processed and changed from atmosphere to air, to breath, to prana. And that oxygen somehow comes out as CO2. It goes back out as prana and breath, and air and atmosphere. And when you're ready, you'll kind of push up onto your hands, reposition the bolster so the narrow end is by your hip. And that's the beginning of the twist. So we'll keep the head turned to your right side just for a moment so that your neck can adapt. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. And little subtle changes as we change from one shape to another. So just notice if anything came up. Like sometimes we forget to notice the ah. We only look for the ooh or the ow. You guys want to sing today? I'll go give you a little volume. Even hum along. It's kind of nice. When you're ready, you can Push into the forearms, lift your head, turn it to the other side. And again, if turning your head to the other side feels challenging, you can make a pillow with your arms, which will lift you a little bit and give you a little space under your chest.
I bow my head, I give it all. Lord, whenever I feel small, I sing a song, and it joins me right to you. And I know
Start to cultivate that deeper breath.
I'm serving, we could only get the nerve to win these wars. We'd all sing hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Don't be afraid of your voice. Hallelujah. Yeah. All right, 3 long, slow, deep breaths here. And don't be afraid of a little sound on the exhalation. As you complete that third and final breath, you just kind of push into your hands. Come on up and turn and sit forward. One more time, we'll just boost ourselves up onto the end of the bolster. And this time, we're just going to go for legs out. And it's not so easy when the legs are out wide to sit up straight. So you could put your hands behind you onto the bolster if you need to, but I want that chest up and collarbones wide. So hands can be on your legs or behind you on the bolster. I'm going to lower the volume a little on the mic so you don't hear every breath I take. That's it. Can you lift the chest even more? Really use your hands. Push down on your legs or push down on the bolster and puff up the chest. There's a little bit of muscle energy here. There's a little lean back here. Try hands behind you on the bolster. Look at me for a second, Martha. Yeah. Extension, right? With a little space in the legs. Yeah. So just a couple more breaths here before we move into the next pose. How about one more deep breath together and then one more just expressive exhale? Yeah. I think you can do better, actually. Come on. Give me a sound. I want to hear you. Like, a little drama. A little, like, yeah, what was the last time you watched the news? How did you feel? Did you yell at the TV? Yeah, do it again. Breathe in big. There you go. All right, scoot off the front of the bolster. Move it to the side, but keep it close. And lay down onto your back, please. Once you lay onto your back, please bend your knees. And then lift your hips and like get the bolster to slide under your pelvis. Okay. So we slide it under the pelvis, and you can let your hips rest on it for a moment. So you start in bridge pose. I don't really like the laying down from sitting on it. It feels kind of unsafe for your spine. And so the knees are bent. We're just in a supported bridge. Let's take the arms up overhead. Feel the rib cage spread. Feel the ribs flare a little bit. Make sure you feel like your whole pelvis is on the bolster so you have some support. That's it. Yeah, let's bring that up a little higher. You push down, I'll bring it even more. Yeah. Better? Yeah. Soft elbows, soft fingers. All right. So gently lift the feet off the mat, draw the knees to the belly. That's so good, right? Your tailbone is lifted, your knees are to the belly. And you can keep your arms up overhead for a moment. Just let your feet float there. There should be very little action in the feet or the ankles. Relax a little bit. Yeah. Remember, you're in yin class, right? And the bolster should make this a little easier. That's it. Okay. So one breath at a time. Checking in with the attitude, checking in with your patience level and your attachment or your connection to your breath. And we'll bring the arms down by your sides. And the hands can be on either side of the bolster, so they're a little wide at the hips. But then take both legs straight up in the air. Yeah, and again, see if you can keep that as effortless as possible. If the feet are kind of hanging over your face or your chest, see if you can let the tailbone kind of drop into the bolster a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Just be for a moment. And there's still a little lift under the chest. A little space under your back. So make sure you're breathing into that space behind the heart, beside the heart, in front of the heart, right? Above and below. And we're going to make a gentle transition here. So the right knee is going to pull in toward the belly. You can grab it with your hands. And then really slowly lower the left leg down, keeping the left leg straight. Yeah, no, this song is not happening. I can just tell you right now, that Pavan, it gets crazy. She gets like really, and it's like 8 minutes long. And so as you put that left leg down, there's a sensation change, yeah? Do you guys feel a little pulling on the front of the left hip, maybe a little pulling on the lower back? You can play with the angle of that leg. If you go wider, it's a little less tension. If you go into the midline or across the midline, it might be a little more intense. And if you move your right knee into the center or you move the right knee wide, it's also going to change what happens in the left side. So take a moment and be curious. And then find where you want to be and just settle in for a moment. Same artist, but different album. I just can't take it. I really love her voice, but that album has a different mood. You approve, Ruth? So we hold for time. We infuse the breath. We melt some of the resistance, and not because we pull or push on it harder, but because we actually are willing not to. So our right knee is tight into the belly, and the left leg is straight down the mat. Yeah. Were you doing that because it felt better or because you missed something? You good? Okay. Soften into the bolster. Let the weight of the pelvis be heavy. Pull your attention back to your breathing. And we'll keep a nice hold on the right knee, and then bend the left knee so the left foot is flat on the mat. And from there, it'll be easy to pull the left knee into the belly. Yeah, you can say that out loud. So both knees are in, the tailbone is lifted and supported, and then go ahead and float both legs in the air. Take your arms up overhead, let the shoulders and the hands relax from any gripping or white knuckling that you may have been doing. The arms rest on the floor above the head, so we're not over chest or over face. We're like up, long, biceps near the ears, knees a little soft, feet and ankles a little soft. If your legs are reaching toward the ceiling, see if you can let them sink a little bit into the hip sockets and sink a little bit into the bolster. So knees are a little soft, feet have a space between them, and they kind of just drop in. Effortless. Just a couple inches between the feet, or the legs start shaking. Some of you are wide apart and the legs are already starting to shake. Just like an inch or two between the feet so that the leg bones like sink into the hip socket. Yeah. And then the left knee is going to come in toward the belly. Go ahead and squeeze it with both hands and start to lower the right leg down. And there's a little bit of play here. There's a little bit of individuality here, right? And so sometimes we have to move the right leg wider or bring it in across the midline. And then we play with how much we squeeze on the left one. Do you want that toward the midline or do you want that out wide? For me, I like it out wide. It makes the right hip flexor stretch more and into the groin for me. So get curious with your body. What do you need? How much is enough? What do you do when you meet the resistance or when the sensations come up? Do you dig in? Do you tear at? Do you shy away from? Just start to pay attention. And let that down. Yeah. Now you're supported. Yeah. And just remember that little bit of space under your back. Keep breathing in there. Clearing out the heart. Anyone feel like they get any congestion there around the heart space? Little veils in the front sometimes. They probably have some walls on the back. And every breath I take is trying to melt some of that resistance. Because the truth is, there's nothing more important for me right now than to love a little bigger than I think I'm capable of. So if I am guarded around the heart space, that's going to be really hard to do. So every breath, every practice maybe helps me shed a layer, or soften a judgment, let go of a grudge. And so we keep breathing. Let's take 3 more breaths. Feel where they're moving, feel where they're not. See if we can awaken the space where there is no movement. And then, in order to be gentle with the release, we bend the right knee first and put it on the mat. You feel a little bit of a let go as soon as you plant that right foot on the mat, and then go ahead and bring the right knee in to meet the left. There we go. Yep, just a little softening in the hip flexor, and then we're going to go ahead and release both legs straight out. You don't have to go up. You can keep them bent, put them on the ground first, and then slide them straight out. So both legs extend, the hips are elevated, and again, the closer they are together, the probably more intensity you're going to feel in the hips. If you need to back off, you open them a little bit wider. And then we're going to do something a little different with the hands. We have that beautiful space under our backs. So I'd like you to bring the arms out like a T. Turn the palms to face down. And then bend your elbows and aim your fingertips under that space in your back, just in front of the bolster, and slide the hands and forearms under your back. See if you can get the hands under there. Yeah. And breathe. Notice if the sensations arise. You try it. Pulling is okay. Your hands belong under, like forearm under. Yep, come on. You can do it. It's an internal rotation of the humerus. Right, the upper arm bone rotates in now. We always are rotating it out, but I feel like every once in a while we want to put a little bit of pressure, hold for a long time, and see if we can affect a little bit different change in the shoulder joint. So Lauren, you slide under on the mat, not on your body. Like pull the arm all the way through, both of them. Yeah, there you go. How's that? Good. And a lot of you kept your hands out by your waist. What if you just slid them all the way through? Your fingertips could even poke out the other side. So it's not on the bolster, it's on the mat. Yeah, there you go. There's a space under there. I think we should use it. And now, does the breath feel different when the arm is internally rotated? Push the breath up against that resistance where the upper arm bone meets the collarbone. Something hurt with your legs out, your back? Let's put the bolster up a little higher. See if that helps. And go a little wider. Is it still pinchy? Okay. You're welcome, of course. All right, just a few more breaths. See if you can pull your attention to the breathing so it becomes a little more amplified. And we're going to need a minute to come out because your arms aren't used to being in that position. So let's just pull the left one out first. Just pull the left one out. You can bend your knees, put your feet on the ground. Let's start there. Soften the psoas, feet grounded, and then the right arm pulls out, then the left arm pulls out. Take the arms out like a T, say it. Yeah. That's it. Give the shoulders a minute, and then we're going to bring the arms down by our sides so that we can press into our feet, lift the hips, and get the bolster out from under there. And this should be an ah when you come down, I hope. So lift, squeeze the glutes, get that space under there, move the bolster, pull that bolster out, and then lay your hips down onto the mat. How is that? You okay? You're not sure? Okay. All right, give yourself a moment. Remember how precious time is and the breath. And this could be a really, really important moment here as we reset. We're going to draw both knees into the belly. And there might be a sound. Yeah, that's honest. That's okay. I like it. You can rock a little bit side to side. Do what feels organic and necessary. Sometimes a little more squeeze, a little less squeeze, a little widening of the knees and a pressing down of the tailbone works for me. And sometimes a little rocking side to side. So I'll give you a moment.
Fall through the night. Fall through the night. Fall through the night.
All right, are we okay?
Fall through
Okay. Please hold on to your right knee and extend your left leg long.
fall through the night.
Hold on to the right and extend the left leg long. I know at this point I have to say things like 2-3 times. So we're holding onto the right knee and extending the left leg long. Yeah, I think we all got it. Now the left leg, keep it straight down, but move it to the right. Slide it toward the right edge of your mat. It's going across the midline. Yeah, and then we're going to come into a spinal twist to your left. It's a big twist with the long left leg behind you. So Tanzine, slide that left leg toward the right side of your mat. So the straight leg goes that way. Nope, come back. Right knee is into the belly. Left leg goes all the way over to the right side. Yeah, now make the twist. There you go. Okay. But we're not laying on our side. We're turning chest up toward the ceiling. All right. How are we doing there? You guys okay? Can you bend your left leg? That's the long one that's behind you. Can you bend it and reach down with your right hand and grab it? And you can grab it palm up or palm down. Oh, it's right there. Grab it. Turn your head. You might actually be able to grab it. Part of the reason is that it needs to go this way. Yep. Now, soften. Let's bring this down a little bit. Yeah. You got it? Okay. And so I know that our attention went to the binding of the foot, but what I really want you to focus on is the opening of the chest. Relaxing into the right shoulder, breathing across the collarbones. There you go. Now, with all the twists, we might start looking to the left, but eventually we'd like to turn our head to the right. So the lower body is twisting toward the left side, and the upper body is opening toward the right. And now, can you bring your attention back to your heart space? Can you get the breath 360 degrees around the front, the back, the left, the right, above and below? Notice where the body has resistance. See if you can soften it. We push back about a lot of things. When the river is running, even if it comes against a bunch of rocks, it doesn't stop flowing. It finds a way above or below or around. And eventually, over time, I imagine the rocks wear down and become a little smoother. And so, just the same, we want to keep things in flow. And hopefully, our blockages aren't as stubborn as big stones, you know? Most of them are attitude. And so, is there something in this moment that you could soften? See if you can have a shift from trying so hard and from doing the pose to just simply being in the pose. And so coming out is going to be a little bit of a process. Let's just let go of the binding of the foot and gently turn your head around to the left. Yeah. I'd like you to lift your right arm up and bring it up and around. And as you roll onto your left side, pull your knees together and find fetal position. You can use your bolster as a pillow, or even your left arm can be a pillow. Yeah. There's a lot to let go of there. So just watch how the body lets that dissipate. Yeah. I love that reaction. Right? That with an eye roll says it all, you know? Yeah. So bear witness to yourself in the moment. What bubbles up? What is expressed? We'll take one more minute here. And then when you're ready, note not before, just in your own way, in your own time, you roll onto your back and just lay out flat for a moment. It should be a good moment. It might come with a sound. Yeah. So arms by your sides, legs out long. Take a deep breath. Try to clear it. Don't be afraid to express it. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Then we're going to start that process on the other side, and it's left knee to belly. The right leg is straight down, but let's slide it over to the left. Bring it to the edge of the mat. And we have opened the shoulders, we have warmed up the spine, we have opened that psoas in the front, we've done all of the things. So as we come into this cattail, just be aware of all of the body parts and how we get them into the pose. It starts with a spinal twist. The left leg goes over to the right, and it'll feel like your right leg is behind you. Right leg goes to the left. Yep, and then we twist to the right. Yeah, start with that, right? Like it doesn't have to be the full expression in the first minute, right? We have time, right? We bless you. We cherish time. And once you've kind of gotten yourself in the spinal twist, see if you can get the chest to open. Maybe the gaze is to the right or straight up at the ceiling because you're still trying to get some of the tension to dissipate. And then we'll work on the bind. So the right leg bends and the left hand reaches down to grab it. I think the easiest grab is palm down, which is why I did that little slip of the arm under your back earlier. So you can have that internal rotation. Let the palm be face down over the top of the foot. Try that, Lise. Yeah. And whether you make the bind or not, it doesn't really matter. Over time, it might be easier if you kind of spread the legs apart a little bit, like pull the right one back a tiny bit. Sometimes it's easier to reach. And opening the chest so that you're looking to the left also might make it easier to grab. I'm coming, Linda. It's because you're laying on your side, so you want to really, like, yeah, the left knee doesn't really have to be on the floor. Yeah, there you go. There it is. We breathe deeply. See if you can keep the waist feeling a little bit long and the breath feeling free. I know with this kind of deep twist, sometimes the breath is not easy. So you focus on the quality of your breathing. Seeing if you can, right? Like open up and, yeah, you can. Do that little body scan. See if you can meet the resistance with a little bit of tenderness. There's lots of parts of your body that could be fighting you right now. But do you want to fight back or do you want to make peace? That's a choice. And just deepen the breath, expand the breath. Okay. Where does it hurt? A little better? Let's take 3 more breaths. And just like with the first side, we got to be a little sensitive and tender. So let's just release the hold on the foot first. You'll feel the release in that. You gently turn your head around to the right side, releasing the neck, and then lift your left arm up off the ground and curl up into fetal on the right side. Just like pull both knees in. Make a pillow with your arm or a pillow with the bolster. Yeah. So, do we like being all tangled up and twisted up? Or do we like curling up in the ball? Right? Funny how we're all wired a little bit differently. And there is something nice about being in the comfort zone, and there's also something nice about stretching our boundaries a little. Go ahead and take a clearing breath. Don't be afraid to exhale with a little sound. And then lay yourself flat out onto your back. And then take a moment, kind of check in, feel. Does your body need anything? My guess would be knees to belly would feel really good right now, but I want you to listen to your own body and decide if there's some kind of movement or adjustment or something that you need. And if there is, you do it. And if there isn't, then we just are free to slide ourselves right into Shavasana. Cindy and I came around with the cool cloth so you can cover your eyes here if you wish. You can rearrange props if you want to elevate some part of you.
Love opens up the day, guides us on our way, illuminates the path we are to walk. Love lifts us high. Precious love we hold in the center of the soul. My love embraces you long after we have said our goodbye. I will be with you, and I'll be with you. I will be with you. I will be with us on our way, illuminates the path we are to walk. Love lifts us high. Precious love we hold in the center of the soul. My love embraces you long after we have said our goodbye. I will be with you.
Let's see if we can start to bring the breath back to the space around the heart.
I'll be with you.
Just feeling a little bit of movement there, expanding and contracting
With you, I will.
all the way around, above and below.
I will be with you. I will.
And the breath might inspire you to want to move a little bit. We might stretch and move just a little. That stretching and moving, probably enough to motivate you to consider coming back to seated. All right, how are we? Are you okay? So see if your body remembers your posture. What does it feel like? Heart lifted, collarbones wide, head up high. How does that feel? I think of it as like not just self-confidence, but also like a regalness about how we hold ourselves. So it's not like cocky, and it's not like aggressive, but it's just like this wholeness, like about how we can be in the world. Like the difference about someone who approaches you like this and someone who approaches you like this, and then someone who just approaches you like this, right? And so we get to choose how we want to be, right? Think about that. And there's something really beautiful about leading your life heart first. And I think in order to do that, we have to be brave. We have to be courageous because we could get slammed, right? And we all have, I'm sure, right? And so we dig a little deep and we know that there's going to be something worth it. Because even the deepest grief in the world that we have ever suffered came because we loved so big, right? And I don't think we'd ever give that up. And so let us keep the heart light. Let us keep it open. Let us hold ourselves in a way that feels like a safe container for our heart to be that way. Lifted, open, brave, courageous. And then we'll bring our hands together at the heart and seal it with just one Om. Take a deep breath. Om. Om Shanti 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 He. Om Peace Peace Perfect Peace. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May the actions of my life and all of our lives somehow contribute to that happiness and that freedom for all, so that we may all be courageous enough to walk heart first, so that we will all step into a world where peace and love, not just rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, but actually truth and love and peace actually abide, where we all get a glimpse or opportunities to experience and live into that and express that and be that. May that be so. Namaste.